Hi, this is Carlo of 4GQ TV here with a very special guest. I have Paulina, and I might say your last name wrong because I'm bad at this. Lulu?
Lule.
Lule. I'm so sorry. Um, Thank you for joining me today on the show. And
Yeah, thank you for having me.
absolutely. And you're up to something pretty cool, I think. I've seen some of the pictures and the cast members, and it just looks like a really cool project. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Yeah, I am on a show called Emperor of Ocean Park. It's going to air, the first episode is going to premiere on MGM Plus on July 14th, and each subsequent episode will be released every Sunday after that. And it's a story about the Garland family, which is a Black political family headed up by the judge, played by Forrest Whitaker. And in the very first episode, very first scene, even in the trailer, the judge dies.
Oh,
He
wow.
dies of a heart attack. So it's not a spoiler. It's actually like the start of the story. And his passing away, creates shockwaves in the family as far as grief is concerned, uncovering family secrets. And then also his daughter Mariah and his son Talcott, played by Tiffany Mack and Grantham Coleman, respectively. They believe that he didn't die of natural causes. And so they start down this road of conspiracy, trying to figure out the mystery of how he died. And the story takes place in like multiple timelines, and it's a really good political thriller. So if you're into that thing, I highly, highly recommend watching our show.
That's awesome. It sounds really cool. I love political thrillers, so I
Oh,
know
awesome.
I'm gonna be into
Awesome.
this.
Yeah. And then my character, Kimber Madison Garland, I am the spouse of Talcott Garland, played by Grantham. And my character is a high-powered lawyer who is about to be nominated to a federal judiciary and is currently in the vetting process of that. And so, as a Black woman, I play a Black woman. And as a Black woman in politics and in law, there's a certain image that you have to present and a certain level of excellence that you have to have in order to even be in these spaces. So she is getting like the opportunity of a lifetime and also has to be perfect. And she has to balance that with the fact that her husband's father just died and she needs to support him through his grieving process through that. And then you throw conspiracy into the mix and it's just drama.
Oh wow. It definitely sounds like it gets into some really in-depth storytelling, and that's
Yeah.
exciting. I mean, that's what makes these shows great. Uh,
Yeah.
how did you get into the role? What was your entrance in, I guess, into the film industry and then this role?
Okay. I will answer the film industry one first. So how I got into the film industry is actually through writing and directing. I went to film school at Chapman University, and enrolled in their MFA. Well, actually, I started in the film program in Hawaii when I was living in Hawaii. University of Hawaii at Manoa has an amazing bachelor's creative media program where with a lot of amazing local and indigenous filmmakers there. So I highly recommend if you're interested in that kind of thing, check out that school. But I graduated from ACM and then went to Chapman University in Orange County for their film directing program. And while I was there, I was taught by the wonderful Martha Coolidge. And she told us that, you all should come take this acting class, like this like intro acting class. Because in order to work with actors, you should learn a little bit about acting, like not in your head, but actually experientially. So we went to this class and I liked it. And I was like, oh, okay. What does it mean to be enrolled in this conservatory? And they're like, oh, yeah, it's just 2 days a week. Well, 2 days a week in Santa Monica, and I'm in Orange County. So that's like on your good day, almost an hour drive. And on a bad day, maybe 2 hours with traffic. I went to both schools at the same time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah, I know I just love storytelling and I just love doing it all. So I graduated from that conservatory and got an agent, and started auditioning. And then the year after I graduated that conservatory, I graduated grad school. and have just been kind of working and writing and ever since. To answer the second question about how I got this role, my team sent it to me last year, right before the strike. So I auditioned for it in by self-tape because I was already living here in Wisconsin. So I auditioned for it by self-tape, I want to say last March, maybe March, April. And then I didn't hear anything, and I was doing a play. And then the play ended, and then I got a like producer session callback, which is basically just another audition live on Zoom with the showrunner Sherman Payne and one of the executive producers Damian Marcano were on the call while I was auditioning with Vicky Thomas, the casting director. So I did that and then didn't hear anything for a month, and then got the offer, and then we went on strike.
Oh,
So
wow.
everything went on strike. I know. So that whole time, it was like, is this show going to happen? And we are just watching all these shows just drop like flies as the strike got longer and longer and longer and longer and longer. Um, but fortunately, we made it through and we made it to the show.
Yeah, I mean that's a great story here because like you said, when the strike occurred, everything was up in the air for everybody, writing,
Mhm.
directing, acting. And I don't know if you remember this, but even at San Diego Comic-Con, there was like it was like
Yeah.
nobody went because all the major actors couldn't talk about any shows. Like there was
Nope.
strict policies of what could be talked about. So I'm glad the strike's over, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that you're able to work and do
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah. And it's like, it just reminded me of the pandemic because during the pandemic, I had booked a role, and that show died on the vine during the
Oh,
pandemic. And so I'd already been through the experience of having a show just like the role like happened, the offer happened, and then like dematerialized. So I was like panicked through the strike. But again, we're premiering in 2 weeks, 2 weeks and a few days. So we made it.
yeah, that's definitely great news. Um, and I haven't looked into a lot of it yet, from the information that's been sent to me. But are you allowed to say like how many episodes there are in the season or how long it may go
um,
for?
I mean, I think I can. I mean, there's 10 episodes in the whole season.
Okay.
And it won't be like binge model. It'll be weekly drops on Sundays.
I miss those weekly drops. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all thought we wanted the binge model, and it worked for a little while when we were all stuck at home. But now that we have other stuff to do, I don't know, I like the weekly drops too.
So did you already wrap up like the whole season? Are you already finished filming the whole season?
Yeah, we finished in April.
Okay.
Finished in April.
On the set and acting in general, anything could apply here, but what would you say have been some of the most difficult or challenging obstacles that you had to overcome?
Um, I think navigating these spaces as a non-binary person has been tough. Um, Everyone on the set of Emperor of Ocean Park were wonderful. But I do think like overall, and this is just like navigating this world as a non-binary person is difficult because a lot of people are either new to the concept, don't quite understand what the concept, don't agree with the concept. And so just having to frequently explain and or defend your identity, whether it's, not even, it doesn't even have to be in a hostile way. It can be like something as simple as like, what does it mean? Like having to constantly do that wears on a person. So I think learning how to navigate that um, has been a challenge, but not necessarily in a way where I want like, woe is me, everyone feel sorry for me, because I think what the positive that I've taken out of it, it is it has taught me who I want to be in this industry. It has taught me, I remember we were doing a table read. And when you do a table read, I'm sure you've seen, the famous Game of Thrones table read when, Dany and Jon Snow read the ending and they're like, so you know what a table read is, right? So during one of the table reads, at the beginning of every table read, we go around the table and introduce ourselves, mostly for the local actors who are only on the show for that episode, so they can know who everyone is and we can know who they are, before we actually go on set and film, right? And so at the table read, I always made sure to say my pronouns, like, hi, I'm Paulina Lule, I'm playing Kimmer Madison Garland, and my pronouns are they, them. And one day, one of the local actors came up to me, the local Chicago actors came up to me after the table read, and they said to me, thank you so much for saying your pronouns. It just made me feel so much more included and welcome here, and I'm grateful to you. And it hit me then and there, like, my responsibility as an actor, as a non-binary actor who's working and who is like, I have responsibility now to other people who look at the show and want to do what we do and feel like they won't be included, to be me to the fullest and to be a leader and to be that person that they can point to and say, they did it, so can I.
That's
So
pretty.
yeah.
I guess that is a really good experience for you, doing that. Because, like you said, I don't think a lot of people understand it,
Yeah.
and maybe sometimes because it's not understood, a lot of people don't want to agree with it necessarily.
Hmm.
Um, so I think, your story coming out and doing this is great for others.
Yeah. And also to be able to come out and play a woman, like, shout out Emma Darcy on House of the Dragon. Like, we are not restricted to specific roles because of like how we present in our daily lives. Like, we are capable of playing anything. And so, I feel like, again, a responsibility to show people that, like, hey, we're out here too. We can do this too. We can be successful as well. Um, so it was, and I kind of, going through my experience just overall in this industry and just in life, I've come up with like a system of, there are going to be people that I encounter that are going to reject me based on who I am. And I think this is for everybody. This isn't just for like queer people, non-binary people, or anything like that. But there are going to be people who are going to reject me. There are going to be people who tolerate me. They tolerate me around. There are going to be people who accept me, meaning they're, when I'm around and I'm in the space, they're like, yeah, go you, they, them, power, let's go, right? But maybe not so vocal when I'm not around, right? Like, and then there are going to be people who advocate for me. And once I kind of got this concept in my brain, it made it a lot easier for me to just understand that, like, oh, that's just one of the people that follow in the rejection bucket, that fall in the tolerate bucket. Like, I don't have to be best friends with them. I don't, I might have to work with them. And so I'll have to act accordingly to however they fit in that scale for me. So it's just that's like the thing I developed for myself, throughout my experience, not only with Emperor of Ocean Park, but just since coming out in general.
And what would you say has been one of the most like I know you just mentioned a really good experience in a sense, but like
Yeah.
maybe another great experience throughout your career, or maybe even before you got on the screen, maybe writing or in
Oh, okay.
college.
I mean, I'll say one about Emperor. Working with Grantham Coleman, he's an incredible actor. He is a wonderfully giving actor. I learned so much working with him. I'm so grateful. I mean, we became fast friends, both on and off set. Um, he's just, I can't say enough how grateful I am to have been able to work with him and have like kind of my first major role be working with someone of not only his acting caliber, but it was someone a heart like that. Um, that was the best part of my experience on this show. And as far as like my career, I've got to say, doing the fight scene in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was pretty rad.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah, like it was definitely like a bucket list moment. It's funny story. I'll tell the story in a moment, but I got to work with Ming Na. I got to work with Henry Simmons. Interestingly enough, Henry Simmons is also on Emperor of Ocean Park. So not only have I worked with him and played his mother, now I've played his sister-in-law. So that's a kind of funny side thing. But yeah, doing the fight scene, learning the choreography, practicing it all weekend, coming in the next week and filming it, that was a bucket list moment. I will say, oh my gosh. So I spent all weekend learning this fight, right? I'm like all excited and ready to go. We kind of walk through the fight in the morning, and we're in the back of the Quinjet. So if you're a Marvel fan or whatever and you follow the Marvel fan, you know what the Quinjet is. And if you don't, just Google it. Like if you're watching this and you don't know what the Quinjet is, just Google it. So the fight occurs in the back of the Quinjet, and there's all these like, it's like I guess a cargo space. So there's all these things where you would like attach a ratchet strap to in the base, like on the floor. And I'm wearing heels, like chunky heels, because it's like the 70s. And I remember walking through the fight and being like, huh, I'm probably gonna fall right here. And sure enough, the first shot, first take, Henry has me by the neck and he's swinging me around, and my heel catches in that thing and turns, and I face plant into the
Oh,
middle of the set. And the whole set goes quiet. And then I hear a voice. I don't even know whose voice it was, but I hear a voice say, "You all right?" I'm like, yeah. My face is all red. I'm all embarrassed. I get up and I kind of, and they're like, you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And I proceed to film like 10 hours of this fight on this ankle. And then 4 days later, it blows up like a balloon, and I had to go to the doctor. Like it was, yeah. I learned to use my stunt person. That's how I learned to use a stunt person. But before then, I did get a chance to be on Wires, which is also really cool. So if you haven't seen that episode, check it out. It's in the final season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
wow. See, and a lot of our fan base are usual Marvel fans. One of my
Mm.
co-hosts, Paris, he runs the one of the largest Marvel cinematic Facebook groups on
Oh,
Facebook, like
awesome.
500K members. So Marvel is a big thing for us. We love Marvel.
Oh,
So,
wonderful. Well, then I'm sure they'll love that story. I'm
so
hoping that they reset. Like, I know they've introduced the multiverse and whatnot. I hope they reset a whole bunch of stuff so I can be in it again, like as a different character somewhere. But if not, I'll take Star Wars,
hey, look, nothing wrong with Star Wars either, right? I mean, they're both great franchises. So
Yeah.
I just learned something new about that.
Yeah.
A fact that I've never heard before. Has
Yeah.
anybody heard that story before?
Um, Probably not publicly. I mean, I tell friends the story all the time. When they ask me, how was it being on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I'll be like, yeah, well, I'll tell you about the time I face planted in the middle of it. Otherwise, it was a great time. It was a really great time.
That's great. So at least you got the whole thing, the whole scene done before you had to stop and be like, oh, something's wrong with the ankle here.
Yeah, no, I was on all adrenaline, baby. Like adrenaline and ibuprofen. I was chewing, throwing them back and being like, I'm in a fight scene. Like I gotta do this.
Wow, that is a great story. And
Yeah.
I would have never even suspected that you at one time attempted your own stunts.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I might do it again. I'm like in a little better shape now too. I mean, I wasn't out of shape completely, but I definitely wasn't in agile like martial arts capacity at the time.
Maybe just no more high heels next time when they're doing
Yeah,
it.
maybe if I see something unsafe, well, that's okay. Lesson, right? If I see something that feels a little unsafe, I have a little more confidence now to be like, excuse me, this isn't gonna work. I was so green then. So to all you actors out there who are just starting out, you're never too green for safety. Like I should have said something, but
Wow. So that's also a lesson, stunt actors, call them in if you need them. Stunt actors definitely call them
yeah,
in.
they're there for a reason.
So are you able to say anything like I know you mentioned that you finished filming the first season. Are you able to say if there's going to be anything after that?
After the first season? Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to either.
Okay. Okay.
We'll leave it there. I don't know the answer to either, and I think that's the safest answer I can say.
I'm really excited to see it. And when it comes to doing these projects, especially this political thing's blowing my mind already. Like I'm thinking about it, like the judge and the family. Now I'm thinking like what could happen? Like, so when you go into this role, do you have like a place that you draw inspiration from? Are you like a method actor or
I'm not a method actor. I think the way, well, I think the way any actor approaches any role is different depending on the role. Some roles are closer to who you are as a person already. So really, you're just bringing yourself and just imagining yourself in those circumstances. What would I do if I was in these circumstances? Um, I think one of the reasons, or one of the things I loved about playing Kimmer is she is not 100% like close to who I am. I think that, I tend to be in my life a little bit more on the people pleasing side. I think, a positive way to spin that is I'm very empathetic. I'm very like, how are the people around me feeling and how can I, modulate myself and my behavior to make everyone comfortable, right? Kimmer's not that way at all. Kimmer is like, I see what I need. I'm going to go for it. And if I rub people the wrong way, I will deal with it then. Like I will deal with the fallout. Um, and I enjoyed playing someone like that. So I think for me to find my way into this role, it took me a while to find that that was like the kernel of her that I needed to grasp onto to really become her. And then the rest just came from playing with my castmates. They gave so much as actors. You can only plan and prepare so much. And then once you get on set and you work with whatever, for instance, Grantham has prepared, the only thing you can do is react to that with the things that you've already kind of worked out in your mind about the person.
that's got to be a fun part of acting, like reacting to the energy that's put out there, right? Like that's got to be like because on a set full of actors, there's got to be a lot of different energy, and being
Oh
able to
yeah.
react to it all has got to be a lot of fun. Like
Yeah.
you get into character and you just are at it.
Yeah, and you're especially this cast, they're so amazing. Like every single person on this cast, not even just the main cast, but the extended cast, the single liners, the background players, like all of them, they brought so much richness that it was almost easy because it was just you just listen to what they're giving you and you react to that. And that is just a blessing as an actor to be working with a cast like that.
Now, one of the challenges that, I think many actors probably face, and some maybe got like a method down to like not forget their lines, but
Mm.
I hear different stories about forgetting lines. So, have you ever been in a situation where you forgot your line, and then what was it like for you?
Oh, I think the scariest place to forget your line is on the stage because you can't cut. Like, there's no like cut. And then, the script supervisor's like, hey, this was your line. And you're like, thank you. No, you're just standing up there and your face gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And you're supposed to say something, but you don't know what you're supposed to say. And you just just like sound starts to disappear. And if you're lucky, your fellow castmates will hop in and give you a line. However, I was just recently in a play called Hoops here in Milwaukee, last spring, and it was all monologues. So you were by yourself on stage. There was no like castmate to like jump in and like say their next line to kind of jog your memory of where you were. So if you got lost, you got lost. And I do remember a time where I went up, that's what we call it. I went up on a line in the middle of a monologue. And all I can remember is like the lights just got really bright. And it was almost, you know how like in movies where they say you like die and you go to heaven and the light just gets brighter and brighter and brighter? Like that's what was happening to me. And I didn't know where I was. And I just ended the monologue. I just said the last line of the monologue and walked off stage. And then the show just kept going because you can't stop.
Have you ever just filled in a line?
I mean, paraphrasing happens all the time. Like if you're, I think if you know your lines well enough, you could probably paraphrase your way out. But I think like going up, at least for me, happens when I'm for some reason taken out of the scene. Like, because when I'm trying to think of a parallel. Um, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but like when you're in a scene, your whole mind, your whole being, your whole everything is like in this imaginary circumstance. And say like a noise happens over here and I look, now I'm no longer this character. I'm Paulina looking at this thing over here. And Paulina doesn't know what the character is going to say. The character knows what the character is, right? So like once I'm out, it's really hard to find my way back in. And that's what happened to me on stage that day. It was like something in the audience distracted me. I don't even remember what it was, but something distracted me enough to pull me out. And then all of a sudden, I'm no longer this character. I'm Paulina standing on the stage looking at a bunch of bright lights, like trying to find my way back in. Um, yeah, that's the only way I can. It's like if you're in like, what is it? Like, what was it? Star Trek, where they're in like is it hyperspace? Is that Star Trek or Star Wars?
Yeah, that's a good question because I think Spaceballs used hyperspace too, I believe.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's a
whatever, so
mix.
whatever that fast way of moving in a spaceship is, right? You're in this like tunnel of light, and then like you ever see when they like accidentally peek out, and then it's like chaos. It's that's what it's like. If you're in hyperspace and you just like step out for a moment, it's really hard to find your way back into that tunnel.
Okay. I am, I got to be honest with you. I am still hung up on the amazing story you just told us about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm still thinking about that too. I'm thinking,
About me
wow.
face planting?
Well, no, just the fact that you did your own stunt and that you still went on for like 10 hours after that to
Yeah,
continue.
we filmed for a long time.
For the fans out there, can you tell them the name of your character that was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
What was her name? I don't want to spoil it. What was her name? What was the mother's name? This was so long ago. It ends with an LLA, like Milla, or I play Mac's mom. I don't know if you've seen the show, but in the last season, they go through different time. Each episode is a different era. So it's like they went through like the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and then I think I'm in like the 60s or 70s. Um, and what was my name? I have to look it up.
I'm trying to look it up for you real quick
Yeah.
too. And
I
that's
know this
okay.
is thrilling TV is people looking up stuff on their phone. I'm sure your people will be like, "Oh my gosh."
Oh no, it happens.
Does it? Okay, then
Yeah,
I don't feel
it
as bad.
happens.
Lilla. Close enough.
You
Lilla
beat me to it.
McKenzie.
Yep.
That's my character's name. Yeah, and I don't want to spoil it, but we end up fighting.
That's awesome. Well, Towards the end of the interviews, I ask an icebreaker question. Most
Sure.
people say, "Oh, I should do it in the beginning," but no, I like to do things differently and make it fun. So it's a
Okay.
simple question, and you may or may not, you know, eat this food item, but
Oh,
do you like pineapples on pizza?
no.
Yes. All right. All right. That's
Absolutely
good.
not. I'm actually like very like purist pizza. Like the most I do is like a margarita pizza with basil on top. Like I am a cheese pizza aficionado. I love cheese and I love pizza. I feel like if I'm gonna put anything on a pizza, it would have to be on the vegetable side because meat on pizza just like contaminates it. You put you cook a pizza in an oven that had pepperoni in it, the entire thing is going to taste like pepperoni. And I don't like that about meat on pizza. So I just stick with cheese.
That's true. That's true. Can you guess what the craziest answer we've ever had?
Oh, I mean, it's a
So
yes or no question, right?
I'll give you, yeah, it is, but I'll give you a hint. So we had someone on that is a famous voice actor and does a lot of stuff for DC and
Oh, cool.
did the Jay Leno show, the voice of the Jay Leno show. And he's from the Midwest, comes from a German centric town in the Midwest.
Is he from Milwaukee? Because that's it sounds like Milwaukee to me.
He didn't specifically say, so that's a good question. Now I'm gonna ask him if I talk to him again. But there was one topping in this town, not the whole state, just this town, that everybody ate. Can you guess what it might have been?
Mac and cheese.
Sauerkraut.
Uh, sorry. Sorry. I'm like a cat. You bring sauerkraut near me, and I'm like, ugh. A lot
That
of people
is
love it. I apologize to all my like German, Polish, everyone in Milwaukee. Sorry, but on pizza?
on pizza. Yep.
On pizza?
On
Oh,
pizza. I never had it. And he said I should try it, but I've
mm-mm.
been I've been hesitant.
No,
Right?
I veto that. I veto it 100%. There's a pizza shop here called Ian's Pizza, and they do macaroni and cheese on pizza, and a lot of people really love it because cheese, Wisconsin, Dairyland State law. But
Yeah, I can see mac and cheese on pizza. I think that,
it's not bad. It's not bad, but I stand by my like just plain cheese.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Well, Paulina, can you tell people where they can find you on the internet?
Yeah, I only exist on the internet on Instagram and Threads at Paulinium. That's Pauli, two N's as in Nancy, IUM as in Mary. It's kind of like a metal, Paulinium.
It does. It sounds like something that would be in a Marvel movie.
Your lips to God's ears. We'll see.
Well, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking to me and telling me these stories. And I'm never going to forget that story now when I go to San Diego Comic Con and I run into all my Marvel friends. I'm going to be like, hey, did you know about this episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D? Did you know that this happened? I'm going to tell all the people that draw from Marvel. I'm like, hey, have you seen Paulina? Because they had this scene.
Great.
They had this scene that you need to see. So
Well, the scene I don't face plant, so I mean, I guess that's fine.
it's really cool. Well, thank you for sharing everything with
Yeah, of
us
course.
and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. I will.
And I can't wait to watch Emperor of Ocean
Ocean
Park.
Park. Yeah. Yeah. July 14th, MGM Plus.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.